I'm Karen, and I do product, and I enjoy wearing multiple hats. I do co-found Taipei DBT Meetup, and now growing to 1,300 members. And also, I co-author the best-selling DBT book in traditional Chinese. And also, it's the only one. So why I love data? Because I'm not that kind of product manager who asking data people to give me the numbers. I want to know exactly how the numbers come out. I do have some conversation with the data engineers, and even though we write some procedure formula to making sure we are on the same page, but ends up when I get the result, the number still doesn't make sense to me. So I decided I need to step in. Since 2020, I've used DBT and BigQuery to transform the business logic from business logic to code. So I can do the DBT, the transformation rule, and then all the way to making all these metrics shown on the company's TV. And the magic things happens. So the people see the data, and they can relate that to their work. So even the designer will come to me, say, if they can do more experiments, because they want to see the changes. That's the things that really enjoy me. And I really like the old quote of DBT. It says, transfer data, transfer team. I have witnessed it happens over and over again. So that's why I'm here. So let's start from why DBT took off. It's like a no-brainer now. You certainly don't want to go back to, exchange the CSV files and copy and paste the SQL snippet over here and there. And you don't want to see the Jupyter Notebook file name like final version 7, really, and +1, oh, there's an update, and another update. Yeah, so we all know these kind of code-first tools like DBT, and now with SQLMesh, these are all trending. And it brought us the concept from software engineer. So now we have version control, we can use Git, we have modularized SQL, we can visualize the lineage, we have documentation, and we can do test. So suddenly, we have the workflow. We can push PR, we can do code review, and we can merge PR. We're a software engineer. We're adopting software best practice to data. But do we really have the privilege like software engineer? They can preview changes, they can detect the impacts, and they can deploy with confidence and fast. That's why the product can iterate fast. But what about us? We do have tests. There are DBT tests, even unit tests. And there are a lot of DBT packages like project evaluators and LinkedIn. You can put that in CI, automated that. And we do have reviews. We have TR templates. We ask data members to do it for us. We want to collaborate that. But I think all of you, before you pull a PR or merge a PR, you will certainly do some custom query on your local machine. Because you want to make sure you don't break any downstream metric. You don't want some stakeholders suddenly see the numbers changes. Because we all know data isn't code. Data has states. So it's not about if the code wrong, it's about if the number makes sense. But for data people, we don't always know the context. So we need to bring the stakeholders in. But how we can bring them in? They cannot review PR. They cannot do the SQL queries. Then we need to prepare the materials for them. So that's why there are spreadsheets. There are copy and paste for the query results. And sometimes we need to make it like a dashboard, a chart, so people can visualize and easily detect the changes. And also sometimes we will do notebook so they can play with. But even we give all this material to the stakeholders, we don't know what they validate. We just get approval. We get a green light so we can merge the PR. But the collaboration isn't happen. And after all this, I think all of you in this industry have heard about that. Your data doesn't make sense to me. Why? We all do all these conversations, and why the questions still come up. And the things can be worse. I think in other sessions around this conference, you probably hear data is now part of the software. I went to several sessions at the first day of this conference. He's making a point like AI is pushing data to become software. I believe that is already happened in your work. So then we adopt the software practice to review the data, but we all know it's not enough. Then we are putting our product at risk. Say, for example, if your marketing team reach out to you, they wonder why the high-value customer doesn't contribute to the sales as they expected. So you have to retrieve all the data models, and you may find out probably there's a problem in the order table because the customer lifetime value calculates all types of orders, including the refund one. That's not the revenue. That's not the sales. So the marketing get the answers, though they are frustrated, of course. But when you discover this kind of issue, you also find out, oh, the revenue calculated all the full price. Even there's a coupon code in the orders. Wow, that's a big surprise. And no one from the finance team ever noticed that. Now, what do? It's a very easy SQL change for you, but before you merge the PR, you want to communicate that to the finance team. And even you may need to go to the CEO office because you don't want to merge the PR and then make the revenue goes down. It's already overstayed for months. So it's not just a SQL issue, it's a trust issue. How can you get the trust if you change the numbers? And how can the stakeholder trust you? So we want to ship fast with confidence like software engineer. How can we do that? We all know data has states, and it's not just code. So we want some human in the loop, but we certainly don't want to prepare all the materials. That's a lot of work, and we still don't know how they validate that. We cannot collaborate on the same interface. And because the process is too manual, it's a lot of work. So to be honest, we cannot do that on every PR. You can just cross your fingers and do some of it, do some custom queries, then you can just ship. So what we think is we should have like visibility, variability, and philosophy. What do I mean by that? Visibility, we think we should detect the impact, not just the changes. We don't want to validate all the downstream models. What if we make a modifier on a really early upstream? That's impossible to check all the downstream. We want to detect the impact to a model level, even to the column level, so we can reduce all the false check and then making sure we can go deeper. And we also want to have variability, not just from the data team. Though we can know what we validate, we also want to know how the stakeholders validate that, why the number makes sense to them, what's their context. And then we want to collaborate on the same interface so we can codify this knowledge, and that's where the velocity comes from. We want to do it at scales, we want the speed, and we want to cover all the PR. We want to standardize automated workflows. That's where we can work like a software engineer. If we know the task clear, then we can write a task. That's truly a task. And if not, we can flag human reviews, and we want the collaboration happen on the same interface. So we can collaborate together to decide if the checks should go across all the PR, then we can put that in CI, or it should go deeper with specific changes. So data engineering is software engineer in a different way. Software code is the central, and the input is clear, so the correctness is testable. That's why it's a test. But for data, data is the central. Code is something around it. The input could be messy with inhuman interpretation. So that's why the correctness is ambiguous. We want to discuss, we want to collaborate together. We're so passionate about this problem, so we built a software called Recce, and we announced it 1.0 and now live on Product Hunt today. So welcome to check it out. And of course, we love this general question, or if you have different thoughts, we love to chat. welcome to reach out to me on LinkedIn or via email. Thank you.